My name is Mia Williams, and I'm 30 years old. I've been married for 3 years, but my husband has been away on a work assignment since our first year of marriage. Because of this, we haven't had the chance to have children, and at 30, I'm still childless. My husband comes home about twice a year. I've been telling myself that this is just how it is because of his job. But that's why I sometimes think about what it would be like if we had a child. Then one day, out of the blue, my husband came home. Huh? Isn't it too early for your usual visit? Yeah, this time I'm back for something else. Huh? Is something important going on? No matter how much I thought about it, I couldn't think of a reason for him to come home suddenly. As I wondered what was going on, he started talking with a serious look on his face. I'm sorry. I want a divorce. Huh? Coming back suddenly just to ask for a divorce. I looked at him with a blank expression. Thinking I was angry, he began to explain his feelings and talk about his mistress, trying to win me over. My girlfriend, who has been undergoing fertility treatment, is pregnant. So what? I see, congrats. Yeah, it's great news. She was really worried about not being able to have kids. She's been through a lot. Huh? I just sincerely congratulated him, so why is he so desperate for my approval? Should I really be this calm? Maybe I should be freaking out and causing a scene, but that's so exhausting. She's the daughter of a small business owner. She's very kind. Maybe because she's a business owner's daughter, she's really classy. She'll do anything for me, and she's a great cook too. So being a business owner's daughter makes someone classy. Okay. She's so devoted, and that's why I feel I need to respond to her. I see. Responding means getting remarried, huh? As a man, since we're having a child, I need to take responsibility. Don't you think so? Who is he talking to? Me? I'm your wife. Are you seriously asking your wife for advice on this? Ridiculous. Her father is planning to hand over the company to her husband. So if I marry her, I'll eventually become the president of the company. Oh, so it's a gold-digging scheme. Got it. Plus, she's pregnant with a boy. That means we've got an heir on the way, and her father is thrilled. If I were to leave her now, it would break her heart, and the baby's, too. Her parents would be devastated. So you think I wouldn't be heartbroken if we got divorced? But you, on the other hand. Yes. You and your parents would be the only ones sad, and since we don't have kids, there are fewer people to be sad. That's why I think it's best if you step aside. What kind of reasoning is that? As for me, I love you. When we got married, I thought we'd be happy together forever. But now I think I have to make a different choice. That's what a man should do, right? What's so manly about this? I don't want to make either of you sad, but the law in this country says I can't marry both of you. That's just how it is. You understand, right? You do understand, don't you? How exactly am I supposed to understand this? I'm gonna make that company huge, one of the top 5 in the country. I don't think you can do it. So don't worry about me. I'm not worried at all, actually. Why aren't you saying anything? You've been listening to me without saying a word. I can't really say anything, can I? Yeah. I get it. You're in shock, right? I'm sorry. I know I'm doing a terrible thing. Leaving you alone for my job, and now having another woman. But isn't this proof that the man you chose is attractive? Don't you think it's amazing to have such a popular husband? Sure, my husband is handsome. The moment I met him, I thought, he's my type, and did everything I could to start dating him. I finally got him to go out with me, and I made an effort to become his ideal type. When we decided to get married, I even did a fist pump. I worked so hard for this, but here we are in our 3rd year of marriage, and he's announcing he has a mistress. And she's pregnant. That's just unbelievable. I can only think that he is really this kind of person, but honestly, I'm not shocked at all. Because I already knew it. There were too many suspicious things. I thought he might be cheating. Thinking that way, I hired a private investigator to look into it. And as I expected, he was. Moreover, my husband happily accepted the solo assignment and built a solid life with her, just like a sailor with a girl in every port. When I found out, I was pretty shocked. I even thought about divorcing him right away. But getting divorced at that point felt like losing, so I hesitated. Since he only came back twice a year, I decided to watch what he would do. And of course, I wanted to push him to rock bottom if I could. So, I started preparing all the punishments I could think of. You really want a divorce? I asked my husband slowly. Really? Are you sure you won't regret it? Yeah, that's right. Kids need their father. He seems so happy. He has no idea what's coming. Well, if that's what you want. Yeah, Mia, you're the one I loved. You understand me best. Yes, that's right. I understand you better than anyone. So, be prepared. So, you're okay with the divorce, right? Yes, if it makes you happy. Why wouldn't I agree? Thanks for everything until now. I smiled brightly and looked at him. Thank you, I'm really happy. I'm sure you are. So, can you sign the divorce papers? You came prepared, I see. Yeah, as soon as you sign, I need to go back to her. She's pregnant, and I don't want her to worry unnecessarily. How kind of you. Of course, I love her more than anyone. I see. More than anyone, huh? Oh, but I love you too, Mia. You don't need to say things like that. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters to me. Thank you. Really, thank you. No need for thanks. This is just the beginning of your hell. Don't think a simple congratulations will end this. Congratulations. Here are the divorce papers. Today's the last day we share the same last name. Oh, that's right. Once it's processed, you'll go back to your maiden name. Yes. By the way, I'll be asking for alimony. Sure, no problem. She's the daughter of a small business owner, after all. It's not your money, is it? Yeah, but since she's a business owner's daughter, I won't need to give her my earnings. Her parents will probably support her. Marriage means being independent. But she said her parents love her more than anything, so even after marriage, they'll support her. Well, I hope that's really the case. It's all good, this means my future is secure. I'm like the Cinderella boy. Cinderella, huh? Cinderella met her prince, though. That's why she's my prince. I see. I hope she really is your prince. This should be interesting. So, where are you living now? Oh, I'm mostly at her apartment. So you're not living in the house I set up? That place is too big and lonely. But when the baby is born, a big house will be nice. After we get married, we'll live there together. You weren't living there? Seriously? Yeah, once I met her, I wanted to be with her. I see. Thanks for the divorce papers. Once they're submitted and processed, I'll go meet her parents. Since she's pregnant, they shouldn't oppose us. I understand. I'll send your stuff. Sure, that big house has plenty of space for all my stuff. It's no problem. Got it. Goodbye then. I wish you happiness. Really, all the best. I smiled and saw him off at the door, then firmly closed it behind him. A week later. As expected, I got a call from my ex-husband George. Mia, it's terrible. Oh, hello, George. Enjoying your happiness? Yeah, I'm happy, but that's not the issue. What's wrong? The big house we used to live in is now an empty lot. Oh, is that so? They work fast. That's just what I'd expect from a contractor my father recommended. What do you mean? Because we got divorced. But I told you we would live in that house once I married her. That's what you decided on your own. I never approved it. What do you mean? Now I have nowhere to live. Doesn't she have an apartment? Her apartment is overflowing with my stuff. Oh, why's that? That's what I want to know. Why did you send all my stuff to her apartment when I told you to send it to the big house? Well, obviously. We're divorced. But even after the divorce, that house belonged to my grandmother. She only let us use it because you were on assignment. Is that so? That's why it's perfect timing, don't you think? But you could have just let me stay there. You weren't living there, were you? You said you were at her apartment. I see, so that's how it is. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, but my grandmother said that if we're divorced, the house isn't needed anymore, and since there were no plans to live there, she asked to have it cleared. It's easier to sell or maybe rent out as a parking lot. I see, that's a shame. I was counting on living there, it messes up my plans. Yes, it's a shame. But it couldn't be helped. I didn't understand why you were talking about living there after getting remarried. Well, it's fine. I'll probably end up living at her parents' house. I hope that works out. So, that's why you sent my stuff to her apartment? Exactly. If I sent it to my grandmother's house, you'd have to move it again to her apartment. It'd be a waste of time. The house was set to be cleared anyway. That makes sense, you could have told me, though. If I had, it would have spoiled your happiness. You seemed so happy. I couldn't do that. Yeah, but how did you know where her apartment was? Why do you think? It's a mystery. Seriously, how did you know? Anyway, did all your stuff arrive? There were 30 boxes. I didn't expect there to be so much. But I wanted to make sure your clothes didn't get wrinkled. Yeah, 30 boxes arrived. The shipping cost was insane, though. Sorry about that. I couldn't pay for it myself. Now that we're divorced, I have to manage on my own. I need to avoid unnecessary expenses. Yeah, I get it. Sorry for the trouble. It's fine. It was for you. I'll do anything I can to help you from now on too. No, that's okay. You don't need to worry about me. Really? I smiled slyly, thinking, he'll call again, as I hung up the phone. Just as I expected, about 1 more week later, I got a call from a dejected George. Hearing his voice, I smirked, but I still answered the phone, pretending to be a good-natured woman. Oh, I thought you weren't gonna call anymore. What's up? Yeah. Oh, by the way, our divorce has been processed. We're officially strangers now. Congrats. You can remarry now. Yeah, but things didn't go as planned. Oh, what happened? Just as I was about to go meet her parents, I got a termination notice. Why was I fired? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't even make any mistakes. I told her about it, and she said, "Why don't you work at my dad's company?" Wow, a new job lined up already. Congrats. No, it's not that simple. Why not? Because I'm unemployed now. How can I ask them to let me marry her? It's irresponsible. Oh, I see. But if the CEO's daughter says so, then isn't it fine? Do you think so? I mean, wouldn't any parent dislike a guy like that showing up? That's true, but since she's pregnant, that changes things, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right. Finding a job quickly will help her stay calm, right? Yeah. You're right, Mia. Okay, I'll go introduce myself. With that, George went with her to meet her father, the CEO. But if the information I have is correct, things shouldn't go that smoothly. If that happens, I'm sure he'll contact me again. Just as I thought, he contacted me again. I answered the phone with a smile once again. Please listen to me. You're telling your ex-wife this, but I don't think I need to hear it. Don't say that. I have no one else to talk to but you, Mia. That's why I said I'd do whatever I could. You're the one who turned me down. Yet, he still contacts me like this, proving he's truly consistent in his ways. Actually, Mia, I went to introduce myself for the wedding because you told me to. Well, good job. So, do you want me to say congratulations? No, it's not that. When I went to see them, they told me something shocking. What did they say? They said it doesn't matter if I'm unemployed or not. That's great. Taking the plunge was the right move. But, they also said that once we're married, no matter what, I must never divorce her. As long as you don't cheat, that shouldn't be a problem, right? Yeah, but here's the scary part. They said if we do get divorced, I'd have to pay $200,000 in alimony and $400,000 in child support. Wow, impressive. I'd like that much, too. Don't say things like that. Normally, you don't say such things when getting married, right? Maybe they just want you to take marriage seriously. But still, what's with them saying it's okay to be unemployed? Because you're gonna work at her father's company, right? That makes sense. That's what I think. Well, I told them I have no intention of divorcing her. The next problem is that I need a place to live, and I don't want to spend much on rent, so I asked to live with her parents. They said no. Of course they did. Why do you say that? Wouldn't it be better for her parents to have their daughter live with them? She's been married twice before, you know? I know. She told me her previous marriages ended because she couldn't have kids and her husbands treated her badly. You're the only one who believes that. Both times, she moved in with her parents right after getting married. She's very selfish, and when things don't go her way, she yells and throws things. Plus, she racked up credit card debt, and her husband couldn't take it anymore and divorced her. That's why her first marriage ended. I never heard that. The second time was because she cheated. That's because the second guy was a bad person. He was abusive, after all. Is that what you heard? Are you saying it's not true? Well, only she knows the truth. Given all that, her parents decided that if she married for a third time, she shouldn't live with them because she gets spoiled at home. Smart move. How do you know all this? I looked into it. Why were you investigating? Because I had doubts about your actions. My actions? What do you mean? Our company allows people on solo assignments to come back 4 times a year. But you only came back twice and even lied, saying you were only allowed to return twice. Our company? You don't work. That company is my father's. What? No way. I never heard that. My father told me to keep quiet because if you knew, you'd get a big head. He said they can't make someone who can't succeed on their own to CEO. That company is a major corporation. Yes, your girlfriend is from a small business, which is too bad. You thought you were a Cinderella boy, but the one you let go was the prince. But still, she's a CEO's daughter and classy, right? That's good for you. So, the reason I was fired is... Of course, I know. Tell me. Why was I fired? Simple. You divorced the CEO's daughter. You were only employed because you were the son-in-law. But now that you're divorced, keeping an incompetent employee like you is a waste, so you were fired. That's unfair dismissal. Unfortunately, firing a family member isn't considered unfair. That's our company policy. And since you're marrying the daughter of a small business owner, it shouldn't be a problem, right? There's a huge difference between a major corporation and a small business. That's your choice. You made your bed. If I'd known you were the CEO's daughter, I wouldn't have cheated. You shouldn't cheat, regardless of who you're with. Yeah, you're right. So, is your marriage with her set? Yeah. You've got an heir, right? Yeah, sort of. Then that's good for you. Being the son-in-law of a major corporation CEO doesn't guarantee you'll become the CEO. There are plenty of other capable candidates. I don't think you could have made it. But becoming the CEO of a small business should be manageable, right? That's true. Then there's no problem. Yeah. His hesitant response made me think something was up. But a month passed with no contact. It was too quiet, so I decided to call him. Hello, George, how are you? Oh, Mia. The alimony hasn't been deposited yet. Can you hurry up? I'm dealing with something right now. Oh, what's wrong? I thought I'd get a job at her dad's company, but they said they already have enough people. Didn't you discuss that during the introduction? Yeah. I couldn't bring myself to ask for a job right there during the introduction. I see. Her dad probably thought you'd find a job before the wedding. That's what it seems. But once we got married, I asked for a job, and that's when he realized it and told me they had enough people and couldn't hire anyone else. Well, that makes sense. What do you mean? With the first husband and the second, they tried to groom them to take over the company, teaching them diligently. But they ended up divorcing. They realized it's pointless to just teach someone who doesn't stick around. It's more reliable to choose a successor from the employees. It makes sense. Even if they start teaching someone new, there's no guarantee they'll continue, and if they don't, it's just a waste of effort. I'm not like that. Don't tell me that. But if that's how it is, then I can't help it. I just need to become a man they can trust. Well, that's commendable. So, are you gonna ask your father-in-law again? No, if they don't need more people, it's useless to ask. So, are you gonna look for a job? No, there's an easier way. You could get me a job at your company. What? That's impossible. You were already fired once. But I didn't make any mistakes. I was only fired just because we got divorced. Even if it's in the rules, that's unfair dismissal. So, talk to the CEO and get me rehired. Huh? If you don't, I have nowhere to work. And there's a baby on the way. Why don't you work somewhere else? Why are you so fixated on my dad's company? Because it's a major corporation. It's easier to be accepted. I'm not sure about that. If you're working at a major corporation, people wouldn't think you'd work at a small business. Plus, my dad's company chooses CEOs from within the employees, so there's no place for you. Don't say that. Even a branch office would be fine. Otherwise, she'll keep yelling at me. Please, I'm begging you. That's not my concern. Don't say that. We've been through so much together, Mia. As a divorced couple? Don't be mean. Help me out. Fine, I'll ask once. He must have been desperate. I asked my father, thinking it wouldn't work. However, to my surprise, my father agreed to hire him at a branch office. It seems my father also regretted the dismissal this time. Even though George made me cry, it was undeniably an unfair dismissal. So, they'll interview you for a position at a branch office that needs people. Really? Thank you. But neither the CEO nor I will put in a good word for you. You have to pass on your own. Of course. I was at the headquarters, after all. A branch office interview is nothing. Are you serious? Absolutely. Once I get back into a major corporation, she can give birth without worries. Hope it works out for you. George, full of confidence, actually managed to get the job on his own. But the real problem started after that. Apparently, he bragged about having worked at the headquarters and boasted about how capable he was. He even revealed that he was once the CEO's son-in-law, acting superior and claiming he was different from the regular employees. As a result, he was mocked and considered deserving of his previous dismissal, isolating himself. Eventually, he was labeled as an incompetent fool who couldn't do his job properly. Because of that, he made the workplace uncomfortable and ended up resigning voluntarily within 6 months of joining. Hearing this, my father's regret over firing him because of the divorce faded, and he was convinced that George really was incompetent. Then I got a call from George after he resigned, and it was utterly pathetic. Mia, please help me. Oh, George. You managed to get a job, But you resigned yourself? Yeah, everyone there was an idiot. I need to be at the headquarters. So? Get me back into the headquarters. Don't you think that's impossible? They rehired you at a branch office despite your dismissal. You failed there, so why do you think they would take you back at the headquarters? That's true, but I know I can do the job. No, you can't. If you were truly capable, you wouldn't have been fired even after the divorce. Enough now. I know, but please. My wife is telling me to fix it. She nags me every day. And now she's asking why I resigned after finally getting a job. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. This is your own doing. If this keeps up, she'll divorce me. Listen. What? Will you help me? No. Your wife is cheating on you. What? Isn't it only a matter of time before she divorces you? But she's pregnant. That's just how your wife is. Your father-in-law probably knew. Really? But if you divorce, you have to pay $600,000, right? Yeah, so I can't divorce. No matter what, it's impossible. Is that $600,000 even if she demands the divorce? That's what it is. My father-in-law said that if she's pushing for a divorce, there must be some fault on the man's side. Well, that's true. She wouldn't cheat if nothing was wrong. Though, I don't know about her case. That's why I can't get divorced. If she's cheating because I'm unemployed, then I absolutely need to get a job. And it can't be at some small company. So please, help me. Even if you say that, with a wife like that, it's not so easy. Please, help me out and find me a job. No. Why not? You could help me. Selfish. Can you stop saying such self-centered things? I'm not kind enough to help someone who resigned voluntarily. Just try to get along with your wife. Please, if this keeps up, she'll divorce me. Please. George was shouting for help, but there was no point in getting involved any further. He brought this on himself, sort of. But, given that he married such a woman, it's understandable to want him to experience hell. 6 months later. I wondered how George was doing, so I looked into it and found out that he had somehow found a job. However, the job he found was at a small factory, and it seemed he took it just to avoid paying the $600,000 in alimony. But with alternating day and night shifts, he was only home to sleep. Naturally, his wife wasn't happy with this. Even though they had a child, she hated this lifestyle and spent her time playing around. She was always fond of shopping with credit cards. So she kept buying things, and the bills went to George. In addition to the alimony payments to me, he had to cover her purchases. There seemed to be no love left between them. It looked like he was just trying to avoid divorce at all costs. But such a life couldn't continue, and eventually, George thought, at this rate, I'm gonna end up in hell. Actually, he was already there, but he didn't realize it. To escape his wife, he resigned from his job and disappeared. What happened to George after that? I found out that he ended up in an unfamiliar place, suffering from depression and unable to work. He lived alone, hugging his knees in loneliness. Moreover, he couldn't change his address for fear of his father-in-law finding him and demanding the $600,000, so he couldn't get medical help and was wandering in his own personal hell. What a pathetic situation.